Thank you, Chair. Thank you, witnesses, for appearing today. Mr. Shipley, I understand you're a Canadian Forces veteran, so I just want to start by thanking you for your service. Now, you've described Chinese EVs as potential spy vans, rolling spy vans, and your broader point is understood about connected vehicles more generally. At the same time, we see the U.S. Has moved to restrict Chinese and Russian software due to security concerns. Now, given your background in cybersecurity and your service in the military, should we be thinking about EV charging infrastructure on military bases, not just as routine green infrastructure, but maybe part of a broader defense network?
In terms of the cybersecurity issues related to EV charging networks, there are regular hacking competitions that continuously demonstrate a number of vulnerabilities in these systems that require attention, and they do require regulation to make sure they're properly secured, both as a physical safety issue as well as potential for surveillance or other harm. So I do believe that we need to pay attention to these issues.
On a military base, even like seemingly routine data points, for instance, vehicle location, charging patterns, fleet movements, personal habits, could become sensitive information if put into the wrong hands?
Well, I would point to the fact that Israel has made moves to remove Chinese-made EVs from its military facilities, and obviously they're one of the most advanced countries in the world when it comes to cybersecurity. So.
Spoken of the broader issue of Chinese EVs and connected EVs and the risks that connected vehicles with cameras, microphones, telemetrics, and smart features are being exploited for surveillance purposes and even remote interference. Now, do you believe we've taken the national security concerns seriously enough before we even begin to approach Chinese EV market access?
We are asleep at the wheel when it comes to all of these cars. And I think the small amount of 49,000 of these cars compared to the fact that 43% of cars on Canada's roads today are connected to the internet. 90% of new cars sold from all manufacturers are connected to the internet, and there's not a single regulation or standard for them. We should all not be sleeping well about all of that.
Ms. Dancho pointed out, like we have multiple directors from CSIS who have called the Chinese government our largest security concern. Former director of CSIS and National Security Advisor Richard Fadden called them a fundamental threat. Our own parliamentary committee on national security and intelligence said the Chinese government remains our largest foreign interference threat, including to our domestic institutions and processes. Canadian Public Safety briefing note said the CCP is pursuing geopolitical advantage on all fronts and using all elements of state powers in a way that are a direct threat to Canadian sovereignty and security. Now, given your expertise in cybersecurity, would you recommend that we put Chinese EVs or EV infrastructure on Canadian military bases?
I would think that we should probably understand why allies like Poland and countries like Israel are not doing that. And we should probably have a fulsome investigation and a thorough risk analysis done by our military to understand the benefits and the risks they're taking on. I think that's an important part of that. I think the thing that keeps me awake at night right now is we have a rising group of 20 to 29-year-olds who just want to burn the world down, who are now being equipped daily with AI tools and learning how to hack things just to hurt people. And they're a threat just like the CCP.
Off there, but time is limited. So that would be, so you wouldn't recommend this. You think there'd be a big risk there. Similar question, would you recommend that ministers of the Crown or the Prime Minister operate with one of these vehicles?
I would leave that to our security agencies to determine, but if I was in their shoes, I wouldn't be driving one.
So if there's a great risk to military and government officials, then obviously having them, it stands to reason that having them in the public sphere would also pose a security and national security risk.